attendee at your event, or let's say I want to be a potential guest. What they're trying to mean here is they want to be a speaker at the stage. Do not respond to any of those, because most of them in such cases are trying to influence and then get a stage to promote their own agenda. It could be sometimes, very, very rarely, it could be a genuine thing. But from what we have seen over the years, it doesn't work. So if somebody is reaching out to you or Instagram or Twitter on social media saying that, hey, you know what, I have a great idea, I have a great script, here's what you need to do, just put me on stage. That's a red flag. If it's too good to be true, that's a red flag for sure. This is something which we have observed. And of course, you'll have these naturopathy doctors, entrepreneurs, or let's say the leadership, the C-suite people trying to get in, saying that, you know what, I have a great idea to showcase. So here's my script. So if somebody's coming to you with a completed script, that's something to look out for, right? So please avoid these sort of speaker approaches as well. Say need to repeat speakers. This is quite important, very, very basic when we kind of take curation in hands. For example, you would have found a speaker whom you think would be great on your stage. And then sometimes, very, very sometimes, they might be a repeat speaker. So before going ahead and confirming any speaker, always do a thorough research and make sure that they have not given a TEDx talk. How do you do that? It's very simple. You put their name and then just search on YouTube space TEDx. For example, here we have taken an example of a person named Ovia Singh. So you could see it's Ovia Singh space TEDx. You just put it on YouTube. You could see she has delivered already repeated talks, and some of this might be remote because they don't make sense at all, right? So this is the simplest way to confirm that if somebody has given a talk or not. So make sure that you say no to repeat speakers. It's very unlikely that a person has different ideas to deliver on stage. So do not try to justify their presence on stage. And also, India is a vast country, and your community definitely will have new people with new ideas to spread. So make sure that is being followed. Now, coming to the important topic, what are the kind of topics which we should definitely avoid, right? So some of the things which I have mentioned here are not ideas; they are topics. And if you want the good topics to be considered, go to TED website. There will be a column called topics. Those are the things which you need to consider. Things to avoid are mentioned here. Of course, I'll be sharing the entire presentation with you all once the session is over, right? So why we need to avoid this is because they are too narrow and they are not intended for the platform. So let's say somebody is using, I have a failure story or a success story to share. That's not an idea. That's sort of a story which you're trying to build, which is where, as Indian TEDx organizers, it's quite important to understand that stories are not ideas. When somebody has a good story, an entrepreneurial story, or a success story to share, it's not an idea. It doesn't make you think. It might make you feel good. We are a nation of loving inspiration, but inspiration and success and all these things doesn't evolve into ideas. It doesn't make you think. It just makes you feel good. So try avoiding that. Make sure that you're very clear on what is a story and what is an idea. A story can be a tool to deliver an idea. So that is there. And most important point, the last one, is a good speaker does not essentially mean that it's a good idea. Somebody might be a very extroverted, confident person. They may not have a great idea at the end of the day. So it's your role to identify what is a good idea, then select the speaker based on that. So always go from the idea then to the speaker. Now, so here you could actually take this as a screenshot if you want to. Of course, I'll share this again. So this document is something which was prepared by one of the TEDx ambassadors who's in France. So he made sure that this is like a perfect speaker checklist. This is applicable for all of us. So if there are two more tick boxes, so this has list of checklist. If a person ticks more than two boxes, it's for you to reject them, or like not consider them for your stage. So this is a nifty little tool to check, so it's easy for you to like reject people. So it's always hard to say no, and this checklist makes that process easier. So if somebody wants to take a screenshot, please do now. You can download this particular one, would be available for the next 24 hours. I'll also send the file separately. Now, we have seen how to actually go about not having things, but how about how to do such things, how to be a great curator. Start with the basics. So for all of us TEDxers, especially the licensee, there is a free masterclass by TED. It's called TED Masterclass, which focuses on 11 topics from Chris Anderson himself, who used to be the head of TED. So this masterclass is free for you to access. This tells you what is an idea, what are those examples, and these examples are from TED directly, so you could easily relate. This has helped us, like at TEDx Napier Bridge, even some of other organizers, to actually confine and define what is an idea and what is not, and what are the talk tools. How do you make sure that your speaker delivers their talk in a very good way? So this is very helpful. It's free. So once you sign up in this link, you will get a form. This is not available on an app. It's only on web. So you have to click. So it'll show something like this, and then you have to just go sign in for organization, because TEDx is an organization. So under that, it's been given there. So you can do that. So this is quite important. So if you're a new organizer here or have just completed an event, please take this. It'll be really helpful, and you'll be as confident as next time when we speak, right? Some things to keep in mind, some of the losings I had where uh, if you're starting out, it's quite important to understand that an organizer and a curator are two different roles. Sometimes we confuse, sometimes we think we are the person in charge, the licensee is in charge, they have to do all the work. It's not. So if you want to be an organizer, say, let's say you want to take up the operations, allow the curators or the curation team to do the curation work. Or let's say you're the licensee and you want to be the curator, make sure that you have other organizers who can support you. So define those roles very clearly. Don't have a clash between those two, because it'll take away your mind space a lot. So focus either on curation or organization as a person, and have a very good team in place. Some of the new organizers might think, you know what, I've seen big events around India, even Asia, even TED does big events. So my event is just 100. It feels so small. In fact, small is very beautiful. For me personally, having a small event creates a larger impact, because it's a tightly knit community. You can work around nice experiences for those small set of people. So it's always nice to have smaller events. Please don't feel bad about it. And speaking of bad ideas and bad signs can never be justified. Let's say somebody talk or is set to deliver a talk and you think that it's going to be bad. Don't try to justify it. If you've made a mistake, accept it, move on. And if you see a bad science talk, please reject them. There are science guidelines for TEDx talks, so please do try reading it, the content guideline, the science guidelines. Make sure that every curator in your team knows about it in and out. That's quite important to make sure that you produce a brilliant TEDx talk from your local community. You don't sell tickets, you sell experiences. This is something which I proudly say whenever I go and talk about TEDx events, because anybody can watch a TEDx talk online. It's free. But why do people choose to come to your event? It's because they want to have that experience of interacting with speakers, having certain experiences built by the team, have food, have great conversation. Those are small things which has to be designed, and that is something which you crafted as an experience. So keep in mind, you don't sell tickets, you sell experiences. And speaking of design, event design is so underrated. Most of the teams focus on so many things, but they fail to touch on this whole topic of design. So if you have a good designer, appreciate them and make sure that you roll out some of the kick-ass designs which you could do. Of course, following the guidelines of TEDx, which are where you have to place your logo and all those. So it's readily available. And follow the basic rules, and trust me, the innovation will follow. If you're able to follow all the rules which has been prescribed, most of the innovations will come out after that. So if you're right, so it's not about how many events you do, or it's not about how many people attend. It's about how well your innovation is executed. So if you're right, so it's not about how many events you do, or it's not about how many people attended. It's about how well you have produced a good TEDx talk, how well the TEDx attendee survey talks about your event, right? I think you should consider while organizing a TEDx event. So that's a very short presentation from my side. So I'll before I go to the set of questions you had asked, I'd like to take some direct questions, and probably we can come back to this. I'm going to stop sharing. All right, so we have 20, almost 20 people. So anybody please feel free. It's an open forum. I'd be happy to answer your question.
Shyam, good evening, Shyam. Sridevi here.
Hi, Shridevi. Good evening. Hello.
Yeah, sorry I troubled you. I just missed out my Google Meet link, so I just sent a mail out to you. Yeah, can you hear me?
Sure. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. My first question is like we have the student release form like any speaker. I mean, under the TED student talk series, we had student release form which has to be signed by the students who are participating as TED speakers.
Right.
Do we have a form where the external speakers who come for the TEDx event also has to sign a document, like telling that they are okay for us to publish their videos? I know they are
Yes.
coming for that purpose. Is there any formalities like that to be followed?
Yes, Shridevi. So small correction. Please always mention that we are all producing TEDx talks. We don't do TED talks. So that differentiation is quite important. So we are producing
Yeah,
TEDx
noted.
talks. And to answer your question, yes, there is a TEDx speaker release form which I can just show you on screen. Um, So that's something which is very important for you to, for the person to actually sign, digitally sign in that case. Let me open the document. Just a moment, sorry. Okay. Right. So are you able to see the form? Hello?
Yes,
All
I'm
right,
able
so
to
this is
view.
the form. So you can just go to
Able to
Google
view
and
it,
type
Shyam. I'm able.
TEDx speaker release form. If you just go and Google it, you will get this form. You have to fill your TEDx name, and also the person can actually kind of sign it and then give it back to you. So it's quite important that you have it, and that's that's a basic step. And some events do add other points. For example, at our event, we add couple of points like speakers agree to practice, give the drafts in well in advance. They will not use AI in writing their talk. So we have like a set of our own guidelines to add aside from what TED has prescribed. So you definitely need to consider and make sure that you have that in place. All right.
Thank you, Shyam.
No problem. So, does anybody have any other question? Feel free. This is our forum. We're going to make sure it's as candid as possible. Yeah, I'm here to help.
Hello, Sham. This side is Dr. Pratna Joshi.
Hi, Pratna. I'm hearing a little echo. If you don't mind, can you check your audio?
Mm, now it's okay? No.
Still, I do hear echo. Is that me alone?
Wait,
Oh, the echo is there.
All right. Thanks, Anjana.
now you are listening? No. Again, you are feeling echo?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. You can type your question if you want to.
Hello?
Yes, it's much better.
Now I'm unable to listen you.
Yeah. Yeah, please tell me, Pratna, how can I help you?
Anyone, please, you can go for questions. I will manage this setup and then again I will ask you questions.
Sure. All right, so we have Vishwadeep. May we get the PPT after the session? Yes, I will definitely share it with you, Vishwadeep Maitra. I'll make sure that it's in your inbox by tonight.
Uh, Hello, hi Sham.
Hi, Aditi. I saw your mail. I'll respond to you a couple of days. Been held up.
That's all right. Some of the questions have already been answered. So I just want to check with you if I'm going in the right direction. So we have this event in the month of July, which is almost 3 months, less than that, and so we are like producing it, as you said, for the parent, teacher, and student community. So as you said, we should not have any forms or anything like that, but we wanted to see which people were interested in our local community and also people who had expertise. So we have now finalized few parents and students from the school community, and we have asked them to, give their scripts, the drafts to us. So I just wanted to check with you if this is the right way to go about it, and in how much time should we have the final draft, and when should we have the rehearsal? Like, if you can just guide me about the timeline.
Sure. I'm going to share my personal experience, what we consider as ideal. It might differ from event to event. So if anybody has any other suggestions, please feel free to add. So normally when we start out curation, we set out the theme for the event. If it's a standard or a salon, beat anything, we set out the theme. And when I say theme, it's a broader theme. It's not like reimagining future is not a theme. That's a statement, right? When we talk about theme, like you could consider TED's this year's theme. I believe it's Brave and the Brilliant,
Yeah.
right? It used to be something else. Like each year it changes for the TED women and TED, the big TED and everything. So a theme is what we kind of start with. We feel that okay, this year under this theme we'd like to explore certain topics. When I say topics, I refer to the TED website where we go and see different categories of topics which are available. For example, psychology, it could be science, it could be art, multiple. Then once we filter down, we look out for ideas which we believe that can be showcased on stage related to the theme, or you can connect to the theme later as well. But something like we do read a lot of magazines, newspapers, follow a lot of people on social media. We keep a tab on what's happening in our local community. In this case, it's Chennai. To a larger extent, the Tamil Nadu and southern part of India, right? So we try to have speakers from our community as much as possible. Once we go, we find certain individuals. We decide the number of speakers we want at our event.
Right.
Normally, to save cost and of course to be a little pragmatic, we have half-a-day events. We don't have full-day events because we don't want to serve people lunch. That logistics is too tough to handle. So we always start our event at 3 and end it around 7:30 or 8. And it'll always be on a Sunday so that all people can come.
Mm-hmm.
So we decide the number of speakers. In this case, it would be close to somewhere around 7 or probably 6, right? The number of speakers, if it's a little lesser than that, we are happy. For example, the one which is going to be upcoming in the next 2 weeks, we're just having 4 speakers, right? Once we decide the number of speakers, then we go on to those specific ideas. If let's say I'm going to have 4 speakers,
Mm-hmm.
I will shortlist close to 25 to 30 people. We will reach out to them and then tell them that, hey, you know what, is there any idea which you'd like to have share on stage? We are considering you, we are not confirming you.
Okay.
We interview them and then and this is done by, I keep referring as we because it's done as a team. The curation team is responsible for this. The operations team is meanwhile is figuring out the logistics and other stuff. So we interview them. This happens at least 6 months in advance. And then some of them, we come back to the drawing board and we say, this person is very confident but doesn't seem to have a nice idea. This person is not confident but seem to have a lot of nice ideas we could explore. And some person would be like, we do not know the idea exactly what it is, but if we keep continuing the conversation, we'll be able to bring that idea down. So an idea is something that makes people think.
Right.
Story is a tool to convey the idea, right? So we do this and then we sign the speaker agreement form. We tell them that we as a TEDx organizer are giving you a stage and you as a speaker are giving your idea. So it's a mutual collaboration. So you have to agree to our timelines, our rehearsals and everything. And then we sign the form. Once we sign the form, we ask them to write the drafts and it goes for multiple edits, like 3-4 times. And once that is done, they start practicing at their home and we try to meet them as often as possible, once a week in that case. And last 2 weeks, we try to have stage rehearsals, and the day before the event is stage rehearsals. Everybody goes as per the event. We record them just in case as a backup.
Mm-hmm.
And then we know how it goes. The dress rehearsals, the lighting and everything is checked. And on the day of the event, they go and deliver their idea. So that's how we follow. Since your event is like 3 months away, I would say, think about what would actually create an impact in your community from them. It not necessarily has to be something which is already out there. So something fresh, something short. And all the talks which we have been curating for the last 2.5 years have been less than 12 minutes. We try to have that because the attention span of the audience are reducing. So some people would be stubborn saying that I'd like to have 18 minutes because TEDx has told me that there's a rule somebody will highlight. Please convey them that it's a loss for them because people online do not watch that long, and people, of course, on stage will try to lose out. And wherever there's a necessity, of course, we allow 15 minutes. So in your case, I think you should go back to the drawing board, discuss with your team, and make sure that the idea comes up. So it's not the speaker, it's the idea first, then the speaker comes up.
Right. Yeah. So I think more or less we are going in the right direction. We have already curated our speakers. So now it's all about the drafts and the rehearsals.
Sure. Good luck with that, Aditi.
Thank you. And just one more question I'll quickly ask, because this event we are having next week, it's TEDx Live.
Right.
So again, just wanted to check if everything is going right for us. So in this case, we have a smaller group. So we have around 10 students and few teachers who will be there. And from the different speakers who are going to be there this time at TED conference in Vancouver. So students only picked up which talk they want to listen to, which is the search for aliens. Now, since I have access to it, I just listened to that talk, and somehow I felt it might be too difficult or technical for them, but they have, they have chosen this particular talk. And then we are thinking of doing a panel discussion on this particular idea once they listen to the talk on the web, or like together on the screen.
Okay.
Yeah, so just wanted to check this is how it is supposed to be done, right?
TEDx Live this year, I don't think they're going to give individual files because of copyright issues. You would have already gotten your live pass. I think through that you can stream the talks on stage. Rather than having a panel discussion, it could be an host versus audience discussion, right? So let's say you played 2 TED Talks from the big TED 2024 conference. And then you can have a discussion between the host and among the audience about the talk. So similarly, what you do on a TEDx salon, you could have a conversation about that. And that will feel enriching because normally we watch TED Talks online at our homes and then we forget, we don't discuss. The beauty of live and salon events is you get to discuss and understand the perspective of others about that talk and also about that idea. Right, so that's something which you should definitely consider, because panel discussions, if I'm right, if my memory is right, it's specifically written that it's not allowed on a TEDx stage. So yeah.
All right. Okay.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
No problem. Okay, so Kalyan has Pratna.
Yeah.
You can go ahead.
Getting my voice properly.
Perfect.
Yeah. Actually, the thing is that we have our show on, or our event on June month. Exactly, you told that we have 15 to 18 minutes of talk, right? That 18 minutes including question answer session, or we don't have any question answer sessions for speakers between their talk, or we can go more time?
I'm just going to answer you before that. Dr. Jeeva, do you want to ask something or do you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a question. I'll wait for Pratna.
Sure. I thought you had something to add. So Pratna, what type of event is yours?
TEDx talk.
Yeah, but is it a standard event? Is it a university event?
University event.
Okay. So in that case, you cannot have a question and answers between speakers and the audience. It's mentioned in the rule. I request you to read the rules one more time so you're clear. And even though it's allowed for 18 minutes, the attention span of people is little less. So try curating somewhere less than 14 minutes. That'll bring out the best out of people.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Shyam. Good evening. It's
Hi,
been a
Doctor.
long time, and it's like last year we were not able to host the event since we had some university-related operational issues. So we became a university and we were focusing too much on academics. That's the main reason. Right now, we are planning to go for the license and thinking of saloon events. Like as I keep taking inputs from you, um, one of the possibilities what I want to check is, can saloon event have only students as speakers? Something which we wanted to experiment. The reason is like, one is we have some students who have come up with some, some are practitioners, some are doing something which they want to share from the stage. So our management is of the opinion, like, why is that we always have speakers from outside and we don't get much opportunity for the internal talent. So can we experiment something like that in the saloon event?
I'm not sure. Probably we can get clarified with Ted. If some staff are here, probably they could clarify.
Actually, I have an idea. We have, like, since we are producing TEDx Youth, it's for students and parent and teacher community. So I think you can produce an event like that, TEDx Youth.
Yeah, thanks, Diti. So we have Caitlin from the headquarters. Hi, Caitlin. Nice to see you. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining.
Hey guys, no, thank you for having me. It's a great question, and the answer is absolutely. I think we would actually be very excited to see an event where you're really featuring student voices. One of the incredible things about having an event at a university or at a school is that you have so many interested and engaged and innovative people there, right? And so we would actually love to see more university events and more school events featuring students and professors and faculty, but we would rather see more speakers from inside as opposed to speakers from outside. And of course, in some cases, bringing ideas from outside of your community in to kind of expand perspectives is great, but you could for sure do a salon event just featuring students. And then in general, we would love to see more student voices on stage, and then more faculty or staff voices as well. So you're absolutely allowed to. That we'd be thrilled to see that.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. Thank you, Shyam.
No problem, Dr. Jiva. All the best with the new salon events.
Thank you.
Any other questions? We do have, let's say, 25 minutes left. If there are any specific questions you would like to get
Hello,
answered.
Sham. Hello, Sham.
Hi,
This is
Disha.
Disha from TEDx Rajdhani College. So I have a question that how can we make ensure that the talks at our event are impactful for the audience in the university level?
Okay, that's a very broad question. Even we are trying to do that for a very long time. But as I said, Disha, right? So it starts with your curation basics. So first thing is that I don't know whether you were there for the presentation. Start taking the TED masterclass. You will try to refine down what a TED, an idea is, right? So once you complete that course, you'll have a clarity of how does TED curate. And of course, there are some other ways to, there are videos where I could share great curation tips from TED's science curator, even Chris Anderson himself. So there are some archival videos which I could share, right? So those are videos for you to get an insight. On ground, what you could do is watch some of the TED Talks, observe how they have coded the title of the talk, try to decode a TED Talk. You could take some of the popular TED Talks. I'm specifically saying TED, not TEDx. Take a popular TED Talk, try to decode what is the core idea of that. Is it trying to present a solution, or is it asking a big revelation question? And then probably you could try to define down what is the impact. And not necessarily every talk has to have an impact. It could also make people think. Impact is a very broad word, so make sure, try doing these things. If you're still not clear, I'd be happy to send you some more materials for you to go ahead. Is that okay, Disha?
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem. So Jay Aditya has raised his hand.
Good evening, sir. Firstly, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for hosting this. I'm the organizer from TEDx NHC. It's a college located in Bangalore. And our TEDx, the entire thing is student-driven and student-run. So one question I have, which might not be that pertinent here, but it is that how do we keep the community active throughout the year, considering the fact that we can host only one event, and after that, for the rest the 11 months, the community is not as active. Like, we have our blogs going on, that's one thing, and we have small events like where people can come discuss and ideas are deliberated and discussed upon, so that we as a we do have other things in college as well. We have to promote TEDx in a way in our college that it's visible among the student community. I remember having a discussion with Dr. Jiva as well, and she gave her valuable inputs. So I thought if you could give in your valuable suggestions, it would be really helpful, and I'd be grateful for the same.
Sure, Chair. Yeah, thanks for the question. So per license, you can do one event. That's all clear, right? But however, since I'm assuming it's a speaker event, the rest 11 months, you can do multiple things. You could host a salon. If you take a salon license, you can do minimum 3 salon events. A salon event is nothing but where you choose a theme and then select TED Talks. Like how you curate your speakers, you curate your TED Talks. You watch multiple talks for a particular theme, and then invite your audience, play those TED Talks with intervals and conversations, and have some food together. It's like a small intimate gathering of people. So that's how you keep your audience engaged. So I'll give you an example of how a salon which we did actually helped our community keep our audience engaged. Like salon is something which we keep doing quite often. Even that's quite popular for us. So the theme of that salon was cinema. So what we did was we watched, as a curation team, we watched like hundreds of talks that are tagged under the topic cinema in TED.com. We watch everything and then we list them that, hey, you know what, these are the 4 or 5 talks we'd like to play at our salon. Then we order them. Then we play with the audience between, let's say, intervals of 2 talks, then a conversation, then 2 talks. So that's one, right? You've curated your content first. You've watched multiple talks. You've chosen 6, just like how you choose your speakers. Once that is done, we think about the experience. Since it is a cinema salon, what can we do? So since we had a wonderful speaker, we do have a wonderful speaker who had like 100-year-old cameras, recorders and everything. So he was very kind enough to lend us that. So we placed all those beautiful cameras and long form cinema books around the audience, like in the hall. It's like a 60% event. So that was there. For drinks, we gave them popcorn. Like the drink was coffee and we gave them popcorn. As a gift bag, we gave them Book My Show voucher. So that's like a cinema voucher we gave them. So every small experience we kind of curated around that theme, and then that's how we delight our audience. And it's people love salons because, as I said, normally when you go to a standard or a youth event or even for a university event, you watch your talk, you discuss with the speakers only during the breaks, but you don't discuss the ideas. But here at a salon, after watching 2 or 1 talks, we always have a break for conversation. And that's something which keeps your audience engaged. So salon is one great way to keep your community engaged. Another one is TEDx Adventure. So this does not require a license. So TEDx Adventure is like a ideas in action sort of thing. So if you Google TEDx Adventure, you will get examples of what a TEDx Adventure is. Again, all the TEDx rules apply for this. You cannot promote an entity, you cannot promote a person, but let's say you had speakers who were from Bangalore, in your case. If they're doing something very interesting, you could actually, take your audience there, like 20 or 30 people in batches, and do the TEDx Adventure for your community. That's another way of keeping your audience engaged. And TEDx Live is there, but right now it's too late for this year because TED conference is underway and it's going to get wrapped in Friday. So TEDx Live is another way of hosting content from TED, the big TED, where you don't see all the talks that soon, but TEDx Live is where you can see some of the talks and have conversations around it. So salons, Adventure, TEDx Live, these are some of the small scale events where you could have between your larger events. And again, it's not about the number of events, it's always about the quality and the kind of conversation which you initiate with your audience.
Many thanks for your answers. I'm really grateful.
All right, so there's one more question. Okay. Sorry, Kalyan, I think I missed your question, so I'll go with Kalyan first. So we'll be hosting a university TEDx event this year end, and I wanted to know what would be a good number of students to be in the team. I want to keep the team members less. I also wanted to know how many people does it usually conduct these 100 event. Kalyan, I'm assuming since this is your university event, all your students are going to be under you. It's again a personal choice. Not too many people, but not less. So let's say between 10 and 20, in my opinion. But again, it's your call and your choice. Having each person dedicatedly working on certain things would be really helpful, and also have backup plan just in case somebody falls sick or somebody is not active. So you will know only when you start organizing it. So you can try that. So there's no specific golden number, but somewhere between 10 and 20 looks decent for the organizing. Yes, somebody has raised the hand before that. So I'll finish Milan's question and then go to your question. Hi, I had a question in mind. Will TED Circles or TEDx Circles ever return, or is there an alternate for it? I am not sure. I think it was discontinued and made it online, but I think Kathleen can give a clarity on that.
Yeah, as of right now, there are no plans for TED Circles to return, but I think the alternative is salons, which Shyam just touched on. So salons can really do pretty much the same exact thing as TED Circles, where you watch a talk and you discuss it. So the spirit is very much the same. The only difference now is that you're able to kind of connect your TEDx event name to the salon, so you're able to make it a larger part of your series and really get people together around this established community. So again, answer is no for TED Circles, but salons are pretty much an exact replacement for that. And so you can just apply for a salon license. And in the salon application form, we ask if you want to have live speakers or if you just want to show TED Talks. So the replacement for TED Circles would be to just show the TED Talks and have a conversation. But yeah, those applications are open year round, so you could apply anytime for that.
Thanks, Kathleen. Hardik, you had a question?
Good evening, Shyam. First of all, the PPT that you showed us was quite crisp and informative. I think I'm audible right now, right?
Sorry?
Am I audible right now?
Yeah, you're audible, Hardik.
Yeah, so I was saying the PPT that you showed us was quite informative and crisp. So my question was that, Shyam, that should we focus more on a person that market our event more? Like, for example, if we go for a bigger name, then obviously he must have given or she must have given at least 6 to 7 TED Talks. But that also adds to the marketing of a own event. So should I focus on the experience marketing or just focus on at least 1 or 2 bigger names so that the other 6 or 7 speakers that I am inviting, they also get a very good audience? So that's my question. Like, and for the sponsorship basis also, I at least need 1 to 2 good names. But the problem is they must have, they already would have given 6 to 7 or even 11 to 12 TEDx talks. So that was my initial question.
Yeah. Okay. So quite important thing is how do you balance that? So do not have any repeat speakers. Do not put your event under risk, because if you have a repeat speaker at your event, that talk will not be published, and when you renew it, you might face some challenges. So don't put your event at risk on saving that. So how do you get good names is basically around, again, thorough research. You don't need a popular name to make your event bigger, Hardik. In our experience, like even Dr. Jiva is also here. She's been doing events for quite some years in Bangalore. There are so many experienced organizers. Since you're starting out, it might look like a challenge, but once you establish your set of speakers and you're confident on their ideas, you don't need big names to, you don't need a radio jockey or an actress or an retired army general to come over your event and make it successful. The success relies in how impactful the talks are, whether the audience enjoyed it. So don't go after popular names. Worst case, if you find a person who has something really worth to say, who can make people think, who also happens to be popular, great. It might work out for you. So marketing your event is purely on social media, and you can, how do you price your event? How do you communicate your event to others? If you just say that I'm having these 7 unknown faces, that may not be it. You need to kindle their interest in why I should attend. What are the reasons? Because A, first, they are speakers. B, I'm designing experiences at the event which you will not get outside. 3, you get a gift bag which I'm curating personally as a team. 4, you get amazing snacks or food, whichever you're serving. So these are 4 reasons, just 4 like immediately I could think of when you try to market your event. So it's always not just about the speakers coming on stage. It's also about how do you design event design. Like one of the points which I mentioned is event design is underrated, right? Because curating experiences, curating the food, curating the speakers, curating the stage, curating the audience, there are so many curation that is involved. It's just that we always think about the speakers, but it's quite important that you curate all this. And then when you package this and then try to go to your audience or your sponsors, it's great. And plus, one thing which I keep in mind, or our team keeps in mind from our experiences, we don't call them as sponsors, we call them as partners. And to our partners, we always say, hey, you know what? We are a brand who are trying to do some things for ideas. We cannot promise you anything in return in terms of ROI, like return of investments and all those. We are not here to talk about that business. We are here to say that would you like to associate your brand with us, something that is intellectual, something that is making impact to the community. So that is where you need to start. And when you go with such partners, you'll have partners for a very long time, rather than just one-offs who'll say, you know what, can I do this, can I do that? So, and most importantly, you don't have to get money all the time. It can be an in-kind sponsor. You can say, you know what, hi, it can be an individual from your college, or it can be someone outside who can say, you know what, I would like to sponsor the particular food for the attendees, or I would like to give gift to all the attendees, something like that. So, and I would like to take care of the production. There are so many people out there. If you talk to them in the right way, you will get that. So that's pretty much it. So do not have repeat speaker or popular names for the sake of it. It'll put your event at risk.
Thank you so much, Raman. I just want to add a little small question. Sorry, Aditi.
No problem. Please come on. You don't apologize. It's for you guys.
Yeah. Actually, I just want to say that one of our conveners just advised us you must get a story from our college only. For example, a student who has a struggle story. So like, can we give a student like a girl or a boy who has a good story of how she or he has been from the village area or something to get a TEDx talk along with the personalities that are coming on board? Like, is it possible, or like, is it like under the guidelines that we can do? Because we also thought that we could go with a pre-hype event, that from the college where we have organized 50 to 60 people who are coming and throwing their stories, and the best real story that we are getting, we are providing the TEDx stage to them.
Yeah, that's not how a TEDx curation works, unfortunately. So if your college is pursuing that, you need to clarify in a very patient and a humble tone, saying that TEDx doesn't stand for it, and your college brand is associated with. So always touch that nerve, saying that our college brand is at stake. If we put some random inspirational talks, there is a chance of our event not making it next time. So some of the things which you need to be very kind. Do not go against the management at any cost. That's rule number 1. As students, you guys might be passionate, but it's also important to remember is the college who's supporting this. So that is point number 1. Point number 2, stories are not ideas at all. So do not consider stories. Stories is a tool to deliver an idea. A talk can have a small portion of a story to deliver the idea of the entire talk. So do not go after such things.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
No problem, Adi. You had a question, Aditi.
Yeah, so since you were talking about sponsors, I just wanted to check, is it necessary, a must to have sponsors, or can we do without them? Because our school is, producing the TED Talk. So would we really, TEDx, yeah, sorry. So would we really need sponsors?
That's a comfortable position where a lot of colleges or organizers want to be in. So in that case, you're very privileged, and not necessarily you need to have, like partners or sponsors at your event. As long as there is no influence from your management in placing speakers. So that curation independence has to be there at the end of the day.
Yeah, and another financial aspect regarding this, I wanted to check out the tickets, like how soon or late shall we start, selling the tickets, and how do we decide the costing? It has to be under $100. I know that's already a lot, but so if you have any tips on that.
I mean, what sort of event is yours? Is it like a college event, school event, right?
Yes.
So the audience would be from outside or just the students?
Students, parent, teacher community, and we want to keep it open to other people also
Okay.
from the town. Yeah.
All right. This is at your discretion. So you have to decide what number would work for you. Not necessarily that you have to overcharge or undercharge people. If it's the reason why we charge people is so that you can pull up an event within that budget, and then you can
Exactly.
work around the numbers. So if you're already sorted on the numbers, work around a number which would actually support some of the other stuff. Like you could, if you have excess money, put it on experiences, invest in experiences, invest in good food, because food is something which is, so many people do beautiful events. The food, end of the day, it just, people remember food, people love food, and our events, the food curator is like a hardcore foodie, so she decides how it should taste at what temperature and all those stuff. She's very obsessed. So if you have excess money, invest in those which will delight audience experience altogether. So the number is up to your discretion. So there's no one specific guideline. And then affordability. And end of the day, if you price it, let's say for the Indian audience, I'm saying if you price it about 1,000, a lot of people may not would want to prefer. But of course, there are events who charge 5,000, 10,000, and all those. But their audience type is also different, and they'll also have different types of events. For example, we also have events in all ranges. We have events at 250, we have events at 6,000. So there's a broader range. So decide on what you're offering to the audience and whether the audience would pay for it. And it's not profit making, it's just for the audience.
And are there any guidelines on how to sell tickets? Like, is there any, or we just, develop our own protocol of selling tickets?
What do you mean by that?
Like, is there any specific format of the ticket?
No,
or how
not
it is? No,
necessarily.
it's up to us.
Not necessarily. You can. There are portals like Townscript, Book My Show, Razorpay. These are some of the examples which you could use to sell tickets. Of course, there will be commissions and card charges. So be aware of all those charges. If you're pricing at 500 for yourself, for the person who's paying, it'll come up to 620 or something after adding taxes. So always keep that in mind.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Yes, Dr. Jiva.
Yeah, Sham, I just wanted to add a few points here for what Aditi was asking. See, it's always like I go around, and as you're aware, I meet multiple colleges and schools. So initially, I was also under the notion like we need to depend only on the ticket money and the sponsorship money. But what I understood is that some of the schools and universities have a very beautiful way of reserving the budget from the second year. I understand for the first event, they don't know, because the schools reserve funds for most of the academic events in a year. And TED being a conference, I think we can put it across to the management saying that this event is coming up in this next month as a projection or an estimation. There could always be a fund reserved. And I also spoke to a few people who say like the managements are ready because they are not aware what is this event until they see. Probably for the first time we have that problem. But from the second year, I've always seen colleges and schools reserving fund towards that with prior approval. There shouldn't be any fund related issues once we prove the event to the management.
That's very nice, Dr. Jiva. Thanks for that. So we have like 4 minutes left, respecting people's time. Does anybody specific
Sham,
yes,
I
Sanjana.
wanted to ask. Hi. The TEDx event is in December. It's a university event. And I'm still exploring and I'm reading everything that's available on the TEDx and asking questions. And every time when I go through something, it's always new that I get, something new that I always find out. And then it has another 10 questions attached to it. So I know that you are, this was my first interaction, and I'm very glad that you are here for all of us and for all our questions. But is there any group, informal WhatsApp group, where I can just post a question and or if there is anything that people are sharing, so we get more ideas out of that? So if there is anything, so I thought I'll probably ask you, or if there's anything, then I would like to be a part of it as well, because everything that I am taking is an absorbing mode right now. So just wanted to ask, is there any group or something for India specifically, if you have any for the 2024 events?
Yes, Anjana, that's a nice question. In fact, something called, I'll just post the link shortly here. So there's a website where you could actually ask. It's an AI-based website which our TEDx headquarters have created. It's TEDxAssist.ai. I'll just quickly check the link, but you could ask questions to that chatbot. It'll try to give you answers because it does a lot. It's a developing tool, but of course it'll answer most of your questions. We have tried and tested it out, and it's a wonderful tool that our headquarters has organized. Yes, there's a WhatsApp group. So when I send out an email after this to all of you, I'll include the WhatsApp group link. There are it's an unofficial group where we be there. Yes, Dr. Jeevaratna has posted that. It's TEDxAssist.ai. So that's the website where you can ask questions. And the group, I will send it over the email where you could ask this thing. So you can ask any questions, and we're all there end of the day to, as a community, to help out each other, learn from each other. That's something which we always do. So
Thank you. So the idea is not to miss out on anything. Yes.
Yeah. You're always updated. So you're within the TEDx world. So you're part of the global community. It's not just India. So we have wonderful organizations around the world to learn from, and we keep learning from them. So yes, Sridevi, you had a question. We just have 1 more minute before we wrap up.
Yes, Shyam. Shyam, this is kind of submitting the videos. How long after our event, would TEDx take time to, go through and approve our videos, and throw some light on any particular, the process actually, that we should look into more closely when we are editing the videos and forwarding it to uploading it to TEDx.
It's TEDx production guideline. Production guide should actually help you with answering most of your, the shooting guidelines. I'm just gonna paste that link there, Sridevi. That you can refer to that link. That's one on how do you shoot and what are the angles you can consider. Like it can be a 2-angle or it can be a 3-angle. Those things. I'm just going to answer this question and wrap this call. Sorry if it's going to take a more minute of time. Really sorry. So that's one. And second thing is editing is quite important. How many times do you change the angles while editing? It should feel natural. So you can watch a couple of TED Talks to see how they have changed. So that's an inspiration you can take from. And normally after your event, on the next day within 20-24 hours, you can send out the survey. Once you're done with the survey, you can pretty much start editing your videos with your editor. And once that is done, you need to have your description, everything sorted, upload it to the TED Media uploader, upload.ted.com. Once that is done, now it should get approved within a couple of days. If your pre-roll and post-roll within the TEDx videos all as per the guidelines, they check and then they just approve it. It's quite an efficient and faster process which they have built.
Okay, like we should have the TEDx coming up first. That is the TEDx logo and the
pre-roll and post-roll. Yes.
Okay, that's called the pre-roll and the post-roll. Okay, we've got some idea on that. And also one more thing is when we have now lots of regional talks are coming, people speak in the regional language. Should we send a script for all this, for the transcript, or just the video will do?
Normally, if you can work out for subtitles within your team or within your community, that would be great. I'm really not sure how the TED translator program can help in this case. Probably I can ask Kathleen just this last question and then we can wrap this up. Kathleen, would you be able to answer that?
Yeah, so when you're uploading the video to the TED Media uploader, you can do so without any transcript or subtitles or anything like that. So you just upload the final video. Once that video is uploaded and published, then you have the opportunity to join the TED Translator community. And there you can find the video and then you can transcribe it and subtitle it through kind of an official portal. So the first step is just to upload it as regular to the TED Media uploader, but it is really helpful if you know that you're going to have a talk in a local language and you do want it to be subtitled as you're working with your speaker on their script, to kind of translate it and have it kind of from the beginning. That way it's less work later on, but it's really two separate processes. So first you upload the talk, and then you go to the TED Translator portal and you can request for it to be reviewed, or you and your team can join as reviewers and you can kind of do that work. But definitely having the transcript already ready is going to make it much faster and save a lot of time for you. So it's a great idea and is really helpful in making the talk more accessible to even more people.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Yep.
That was
That's end of our
great.
session.
Thanks so much, Sam.
No problem, Sridevi. You're welcome. So that's end of our session. Sorry for being 3 minutes late. So I'm just going to post the email ID. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you know some of the organizers within this group, please stay in touch with them. I'll also send the PDF, some other little more resources for you. And yes, of course, the WhatsApp group link for you to join. So good luck and all the best to your events. Remember, it's always about ideas and not stories.